Hi, my name's John Thorne from Thorny Motorsport. This is another one of our technical videos, which I think comes under the preventative medicine process, but not quite, depending how you look at it. Now, we're big fans of looking at McLarens every 12 months just to make sure there are any problems we can nip in the bud. And part of the reasons we can run our warranty and run our 4-year service, 3-year service plan is that we understand what will go wrong, and also we can preempt problems going wrong to make them small problems rather than big problems. But of late, we have had some engine issues that we think potentially comes under that category. Now, in my lap right now is an oil pump, okay? They're common to pretty much every model in terms of this one. This is a brand new 765 version. And we have had an issue now where right now in my yard are 3 McLarens, 12Cs, 570s and a 650s, all with what I can only describe as disastrous engine failures. And when I say disastrous, I'm talking kablamo, like not much left, bottom end, top end, and everything in between. And each of them are basically dead engines. I can rebuild them, but the cost of rebuilding them is not dissimilar to a second-hand engine. The problem being a second engine is what we're going to get. But to let you know, a brand new McLaren engine, 3.8, is £54,000 now. Okay, a 4 litre is north of nearly 60. So you don't want to put a new engine in these cars, especially when they're trading between 80 and 120 odd grand. But we've had 3 now, and it's not 3 total, it's been 3 literally in the last month and a half, 2 months. We've done ones before, where the cause of the failure has been this little sod here, the oil pump. Now, the history behind the oil pump is that this was one of the first components that the McLaren GT racing operation lifed. Now, on race cars, they have what's called life components, all right? It's called life. So every component on a race car pretty much has a lifetime. They call it life fit, and it's done by a number of hours. And it's very conservative because, frankly, the manufacturers make money selling parts to race teams. But also it's based on failure rates. So they will say, you've done X, Y number of hours on a gearbox, it needs a rebuild, its life's at 1,000 hours, 2,000 hours, where it's going to be. This was the first component on the 650 GT3 project. So we're going back 10 years, 12 years now, where they immediately said it was lifed at 14 hours, I think it was initially, of racing terms before it was taken and stripped and checked. Okay, what happens, it's hard to show, this thing weighs about 10 kilos, is that the shaft inside here, it's the shaft here, actually rotates into the engine itself, snaps. It snaps in a catastrophic way. So this seizes the whole bottom end, and literally you lunch it. Everything is just basically destroyed. Okay, there is no indication it's going to go. There's not some vibration that gives you an alert it's going to go. It's simply a question of, ooh, engine stopped, what's going on? It comes to someone like me, and I see the top end has been damaged because the bottom end has gone out of timing, and you do all starvation on your crank, your big end, you normally got contact of pistons and rods, and all kinds of terrible things happen. And the cheapest rebuild we can do is about £25,000. All right, still less than half the price for a new engine, but it's a hideous amount of work and a lot of parts to get done. Now, ideally, you'd have some early warning system. For example, the bit you can get to on the engine is this bit back here to see if you've got any movement, but you simply can't tell. The only way you can tell is stripping a thing apart. And whilst it's sat on the bottom of the engine, it's easy to get to, you can't really strip these things apart cost effectively. So we've decided that this is something that we maybe start talking to people as a preemptive medicine for cars. Now, McLaren know this, obviously, so they started lifing out the GT3 components, and there is now an upgrade part, which is this one here. Technically, this is an oil pump for a Senna, all right? It's also an oil pump for a 765. It's also an oil pump for a 750. So what happens is that the original parts for 12Cs and Sports Series have been superseded by this one, which is now the part for Senna and 765. So arguably speaking, if it helps you justify the cost, you can say you've got a Senna fuel pump in your engine. Technically that's true, but really it's a superseded part. We've got no indication these are any better, but on the basis that they're the same price and that Patent and McLaren have superseded the previous part numbers, one would suggest they are better. And we've never seen one fail, not on a 765 or on a Senna itself in terms of the oil pump itself, but it is an upgrade from what we got before. The downside is I can't hand on heart and say to you, when your car hits X number of miles or X number of years, you should change your oil pump as a preventive measure, because there is no indication. I've got cars out in the car park now with over 100,000 miles on them, original oil pump. And I've also got cars that have got 25,000 miles where the engine is collected up with a magnet. So there's no real indication I can say. But for those people who are keeping their cars long term, it's a member of the family and they want to avoid any future engine issues in the future, arguably there is a case to say, you know what, let's change my oil pump for the Senna version to make sure I don't get that failure going further forward. I'm not going to pitch it as a, yes, do it. It's going to be one of those ones where for those kind of owners who want to do the belt and braces process, it's probably a good idea to do. When my cars come in or our cars come over here, my 720 already has a 765 pump in it because when I bought it from the dealer, how many years ago, it immediately had an oil pump failure and a leak. So I immediately put a 765 on back then in any way. So my 720's got it. 570 we have is an original pump. So at some point in time, we will change that just as a preventative measure. Cost, though. You're looking at 3,000 quid fitted, these things. Okay, these are not cheap, all right? But it's a damn sight cheaper than a £25,000 engine. And certainly 20 cheaper than the calls I have to make after this video. Well, one of those cars, I can't even rebuild it. There's nothing left. It's going to be cheaper to put a second-hand engine in there. The downside of second engines is, bottom line is, some of them are a bit crap. But a new engine, 50, 60,000 pounds plus labour. All right, and that's on a 12C coupe, which is worth 80 grand. So these are hideous numbers to have. So is it worthwhile putting a 3 grand oil pump in as a preventive measure? Of course, it's a great thing to do. Could you justify it money-wise? If your engine's not going to fail, no. But if it's the intention of in the alternative of an engine failure, it's a good thing to do. So I'm not putting it there saying, do your oil pump, it's going to fail. Simply one that we're starting to see them fail. Maybe it's just been luck of the draw. We've had 3 or 4 in the last couple of months, which has concerned me a bit, hence doing this. But I thought it was worthwhile mentioning that it obviously has been historically been an issue. Hence, there's a new one, which now goes in Sennas and 765s and 750s. So when it comes to a point in time, if you do have a pump issue, then to replace it. The last thing behind it is that these are fairly common to leak, mainly in 720s and 750s, well, not 750s, but 720s. So if you do have one that's leaking, normally we look at it, wipe it down, keep an eye on it. I'm not saying that now. If you've got a leak from one, just replace it. All right, you can rebuild these things, there's seals to do, but certainly it's worthwhile doing rather than being like, oh, keep an eye on it type process, which is what we used to advocate. No longer. Now I'm being a bit more careful about it. All right, so this isn't a, your engine's going to blow up. This isn't a, oh my God, do this. It is simply an alert process to be aware of these things. So when you do take your car into your chosen supplier, be it us or dealers, everything else that's there, that you're informed about what may or may not happen. All right, hope that's useful. Talk to you soon. Cheers.